Measuring knowledge management. Introduction. Measuring is assigning numericals to thing as per determinative and rule. Determinative means to constant assignment of essential of given content conditions. Non-generate measures means allowing for a possible of assignment of different numerical under varying conditions. Assignment of different numericals under varying the knowledge constant in knowledge management tries to select and or formulate those concepts useful in measuring and influencing knowledge management performance. American Productivity and Quality Council APQC focus on how some of the most advanced early knowledge management adopt implement of knowledge management initiative mobilize resource create a business case and measure and evolve their knowledge program. This helps to identify measurement approaches and specific measures in use and its impact on the evaluation of knowledge management. The need for measurement of knowledge management follows a bell curve pattern through the life cycle of a business life cycle. In the earliest stage of knowledge management, implementation, formal measurement really takes place, though not required. As knowledge management becomes more structured and widespread, and companies move into stage 2, 3, or 4, the need for measurement strategic increase. Knowledge measurement. The different stages in knowledge measurement are advocation stage, experiment stage, implement stage, support stage, institutionalization stage. Advocation stage. The fire to manage knowledge starts with the spark of inspiration. There has to be a new source of energy or interest to case knowledge management to appear. In the option set for the organization, someone must become inspired with the vision of what it would be like if the organization could effectively support human knowledge capture, transfer, and use. Entraced by his or her vision, this champion begins to search for opportunities to share the vision with others and to find opportunities to demonstrate the value of knowledge management to the organization. The central task for the a champion at this stage is to create a vision that inspires others to join in the exploration of how managing knowledge might contribute value to the enterprise and its people. In this stage, members of the management must understand the theoretical value of knowledge management. Then, in quantitative numbers, the most effective way of convincing them may be to find the greatest area of case part within the organization. The scapegoats refers to frustration among the employees group. It is important to expose the needed. For knowledge management at this stage, interviewing key stakeholders, help uncover knowledge management needs, and expose area of lost time, effort, and therefore money, making comparison with the similar industries that have successfully implemented knowledge management also can convenience if the computerized has gained recognition for the knowledge management efforts and its proactively jump and operating cost plumped, then the organization implementing knowledge management techniques with power. Stage 1 is the time of favorable in potential of knowledge management to the stockholders. The second stage of knowledge management implementation formulate a practical for knowledge management within the organization is applicability. The movement start from several of knowledge enabling activities and develop into a corporate vision and strategy. The development of several useful and successful knowledge of enabling practice and plots act as catalyst to for positive senior management attention. Further, it all organizational sponsors to realize the consequently support the formulation of cross-functional team that can be alignment. At this point in the process, negotiation for some corporate funding can add additional resource to the scare and limited funds from the local teams. Forwarded the end of this stage, this plot's focus begins to center on specific knowledge management ideas and principles in order to demonstrate concepts and capabilities appearing in the three main categories. The stage help to identify in times items that do required for success stories etc measurement, since most management initiatives driven by financial result, the instinct is to identify quantitable financial measurements such as productivity, increased sales, reduced overhead, etc. Knowledge management focus should be on meaningful measures that concentrate on exploring the various opportunities in the organization for implementing knowledge management practice, developing the organization knowledge management strategic measuring the progress toward organizational awareness and experimenting with the different knowledge management concept with regard to developing and selling. At the end of the stage, the organization must be in the position measures the gap between the current business practice and the expected business practice. This assignment attempts to identify the measurement used and determine its value. This is stage for the designing of the knowledge map to measure the gap between the existing state and the future state. The existing measurement provide organization with a benchmark for future measurement bench with other organization is a surveil tool leading to snapshots. thrown by this stage. It is still important to show the knowledge that knowledge management working and will work going forward to estimate ROI. It is a practice to add the cost of the community, including labor, meetings, and facilitate, and then define the effort spent on knowledge management by expert to decide upon the effect saved through sharing solution in the community. Another way to approach ROI estimation might be by looking at sub communities and their generation of solution in terms of community projects. If a group needs a solution and embarks on a knowledge creation effort, it is prudent to determine how much time saved to market, competitive positioning, etc. Institutionalizing knowledge management. In some way, this stage is the continuation of the previous stage to its logical conclusion. A full enterprise wide deployment. However, the institutionalization stage differs from the support stage in three fundamental ways. It does not happen unless knowledge management is embedded in the business model. The organization structure must be realized. Evidence of knowledge management competency becomes part of the formal performance evaluation. Sharing and using knowledge become part of the organization way of doing business as well as an expected management competency. In the reality, young arena of knowledge management, only a few organizations have reached this stage. In this stage, measures not used to prove value. This stage monitors the coined evaluation of the culture. Knowledge management is no longer an initiative or project at this stage, but becomes the backbone of the organizational business process. Knowledge measurement techniques. These sections outline a non financial measurement system for intangible assets. Such measurement includes intangible assets measurement, intangible asset monitors, intellectual capital rating, balanced scored. Intangible asset measurement. It is widely accepted that intangible knowledge or intellectual assets are the major drivers of corporate value and growth. In most assets are implementer economic sectors, but the measurement of this asset has allowed for fair managers, accountants, and financial analysis valuing investment project. The conventional tools and techniques in existence value, not projects, measures the value of knowledge or intellectual capital of an organization, its efficiency and performance. There is no difference between monetary measures and other measures. Through monetary measurement is objective and guided by definition and standards. Most organizations measure some of their intangible assets and they use non-monetary measures for particularly measuring operational efficiency. Manufacturing companies measures output per hour as efficiency. basis. Hospitals and hostels measures bed utilization, school measures student performance in terms of marks, employees satisfaction and retention as a measure of competence by most business organizations. Measuring the value of intangible assets is important because evaluating profitability and performance of business enterprise by say return on investment assets or equity ROA ROE seriously influence intangible capital measures of price relatives. Example, price to book ratio are similarly misleading and ignore the value of intangible assets from according to book values. Valuation for the purpose of mergers and acquisition are incomplete without an estimate of intellectual capital resource allocation decisions within corporation required values of intangible capital. This and other use create the need for valuing intangible assets in practically all economic sectors. Intangible knowledge assets such as new discoveries, drugs, softwares, products, etc. Brands are unique organizational designs, internet based supply chain are by a large not traded in organized markets and the property rights over the assets are not fully secured by the company except for intellectual properties such as patents and trademarks. The risk of these assets, drugs or software programs under development not making it is to the market in is generally higher than that the physical assets. Hence many particularly accountant and correspondent executives are reluctant to recognize the intangible and intellectual assets in financial reports on par with physical and financial assets. While such attitude concerning balance sheet may be understood, while such institution concerning balance sheet may understand does not satisfy the need to seek information about the values intangible assets. Some have attempted the value of intangible assets from the difference between the company capital markets value and its books value, the balance sheet value of physical and as a value assets. The approach is unsatisfactory because of its the assumption that there is no mispricing in capital markets and that balance sheet historical value of asset reflect their current values. The market minutes book approach to valuing intangibles is also unsatisfactory because it is circulatory. One searches for measures of intangible value in order to provide new information to managers and investors. Therefore, there is a need for a different approaches to estimating the value of intangible assets. Some of the approaches are as follows: direct intellectual capital methods DIC estimate the rupee value of intangible assets by identifying its various components. Once these components identified, directly evaluate either individually or as aggregated coefficient. Market capitalization method MCM calculate the difference between a company market capitalization and its stockholders' equity as the value of its intellectual capital or intangible assets. Return on investment method ROA average pre-tax earning of company for a period of time divided by the average tangible assets of the company. The result is the company ROA compared with its industry average. The difference is multiplied by the company average tangible assets to calculate average annual earning from the intangibles. Dividing the above average earnings by the company average cost of capital or an asset interest rate, one can drive an estimate of the value of its intangible assets or intellectual capital. Scorecard methods SC. The various components of intangible assets or intellectual capital identified, indicators and indicators generated and reported in scorecards or as graphs. SC methods are similar to DIS method. Expect that no estimate is made of the rupee value of the intangible asset. A composite index may or may not be produced. Intangible asset monitor. Intangible asset monitor is a method for measuring intangible asset and a presentation format that display a number of relevant indicators for measuring intangible assets in a simple manner. The choice of indicator depends on the company's shortage. The format is particularly aspect similar to balance scorecard. However, therefore, uh, significant difference between the two. It is possible to integrate intangible assets monitor in the MIS. The most importance of cover are growth, renewal, efficiency and stability. The purpose of is to get the board pictures, so one or two indicator in each categories. Normally organizations are interested in indicator that indicator change in growth and renewal as well as efficiency and stability measures, although often used as synonyms. Efficiency and effectiveness measures different things. Efficiency measures utilization, how well an organization is using its capacity regardless of what is produced. A criterion of efficiency often used by consultancy firm is billable time as a proportion of time available. The measures how much time consultant paid for. It is a simple and good indicator of short-term profitability because it measures capacity usage but in say nothing about what is consultant accomplished in that time. The needed of various parties concerned may differ. Shareholders are interested in dividend. Customers are interested in service level and quality. Firm therefore employ different efficiency measures for different audience. ROI, return on invested capital, is a criterion of efficiency popular in financial circles. It measures profit generated by the capital invested in a company or a project, and this a very important indicator of efficiency to both creditors and the owners of the invested capital. For shareholders, the most important figures is what they earn after tax is the firm dividends on the capital they have put into the companies. The return after tax on their own equity often shortened ROE. The management must also track the return on the firm total capital. The management must also track the return on the firm total capital and on particular investment project so that they can control their allocation of capital. Uniformity, this techniques does not suit to intangible assets, so various income statement and non-monetary measurements used instead to calculate efficiency. Effectiveness measures how well an organization is satisfying need of those it serves. It is more difficult to measure also because must often go outside one own organization. Measuring customers' satisfaction, for instance, an important indicator of an organization. Effectiveness relies on customer polls, therefore, effectiveness is seldom measured, even if it is not particularly possible to measure effectiveness. It is yet valuable to think it effectiveness terms. The most revealing feature of performance to focus on the cost of people or on the revenue they bring in. Cost focus is efficiency oriented while revenue focus in effectiveness oriented. External structure indicator, internal structure indicator, competence indicator. Indicators of growth, organic growth. Indicator of growth, investment in IT, investment in internal structure. Indicator growth, competence index, number of years in the profession, level of education, competence turnover. Indicator of renewals, innovation, image enhancing customer sales to new customers. Indicator of renewals, innovation, organizing enhancing customers proportion of new product service, new process implemented. Indicator of renewals, innovation, competence enhancing customers training and education, cost diversity. Indicators of efficiency, utilization, probability per customers, sales per customers, win loss index. Indicator of efficiency, utilization, proportion of support staff. Indicator of efficiency, utilization, proportion of professions, advantage, effect, value added per employee, value added, fewer professional profits, fewer employee profits per professionals. Indicator of risk stability, satisfied customers index, a proportion of big customers, age structure, default customers ratio, frequency of repeat orders. Indicators of risk stability, value attitude index, age of the organization, support staff turnover, books ratio, seniority. Indicator of risk stability, Professionals turnover, reality, pay seniority, pay seniority, pay seniority.